Look at these other podcasts out here with a point. Doing interviews, trying to educate you, or change the world. No, we don't do that here. Here, we look around, see things, go places, do things, and round up the best so you can forget the rest. Here, we rank 'em up.
Welcome back to Rank 'em Up. I am Greg, with you for another week. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming back and listening. We're happy you're here. We're happy you're listening. We're happy you came back, and we're happy you subscribed and all that good stuff. Don, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing swell, thank you.
Good, good. Lilo, how are you?
I'm good, man. Doing real good.
Good. Keberto,
I'm excited.
you excited?
Yes, very.
After last week, we had a good time. We had a good user-suggested topic in the 90s songs, and that was fun. Hopefully you went and looked at our YouTube channel and checked that out. Don, where can you do all that stuff?
So check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com. Go to Facebook, facebook.com/rankemup, and also on Twitter, which is where we get where I see most of the user integration with us, and that's Twitter @rankemup. It's really easy.
If you're new to the program, here's what we do. We're just four guys sitting around a table, and what do you guys like to do? We like to talk about things, rank things, be competitive about stuff, and here we're ranking things up. That's what we do in the name of the show. We thank you for checking us out. We thank you. We know that new listeners are joining in all the time. If this is your first one, tell us where you're from. Tell us why you're listening. Thank you, and we appreciate that.
Can I just say, if you have to go to the archives, which will be on the YouTube channel, listen to the chocolate candy one first, and then agree with me that chocolate and peanut butter are simply the greatest things to go together.
This is still an argument
Concurred.
we're having. I am Team Caramel and Chocolate.
Did you see the picture I posted of the guy that was in the bathtub of the Reese's peanut butter
I may have
cups?
seen that.
That was so great. I should have done the GIF of the Reese's peanut butter cups, been like a mouth motion.
Do yourself a favor and go listen to that and make yourself hungry for some Halloween treats. We know this show's coming out pretty soon, or pretty close to Halloween.
And by the way, and that's because our top 3 or 4, that's what you should buy for Halloween candy, because that's the best. Simply.
Speaking of our topic today, we are talking about dead people we'd like to have a beer with.
Dead people.
Dead people we'd like to hang out with. So, who should we start with today? Who was the last person to go on vacation somewhere? Anybody?
Just taking a day off from work.
Yeah, maybe that's not a good
What
question.
about a
Right.
staycation?
Yeah, staycation count.
Sure, any vacation. I have
went
not gone
to-
anywhere recently, so
No, we
I
went
took
to
a day off to play Destiny.
that's pretty close.
I
That's
took a
pretty
day
close.
off a Friday 2 weeks ago.
To hang
Oh,
out with
that's
your
right.
mom, though.
No.
Oh, sorry. Never mind.
wrong
Never
day.
mind. Never mind.
All right, well, that was terrible. So,
Yeah.
Kiberto, why don't you answer?
Great answer, Kiberto.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so this one I had trouble with because I never really thought about what dead people I'd like to meet. But as musically influenced as I am, one of the impressive personalities that I would like to spend some time, now that I think about it better, is Beethoven. I mean, of course, it might be cliche, a little mainstream or whatever, but however, and ask him, how he overcame his disabilities, regardless of the time, also how dark his music was accepted back then and today. So kind of put those together and maybe be inspired also. Beethoven.
Nice. Didn't he lose his hearing later in life?
He did.
Okay.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I'm trying to get all my composers straight in my head.
Yeah, he used that piece of metal in the back of his neck,
That's right.
kind of like headphones.
I heard he also cut the legs off of his piano and learned to play based on the vibrations.
Yes.
Man,
Yeah.
that is.
So he's like the Peanuts dude playing on the floor.
He kind of
Pretty
is.
much. Yeah.
Linus, there he is.
Schroeder.
All right.
No, I don't know.
All right, well, here's
Linus was a smelly kid.
I have a couple of honorable mentions. This was a difficult list for me as well. I was texting these guys throughout the week because I had a hard time coming up with 5. I told these guys I don't know if I'm that interesting that I would have much to say or want to know much from some dead folks. So I came up with 5, and I had a few honorable mentions. So I'll put them out here. One of my honorable mentions is Babe Ruth. I think he would be a cool guy to hang out with. He was the star of the room. Anywhere he went, he made a party. So I think that'd be kind of fun to hang out with him, have a beer, talk about old baseball stories. That'd be fun.
Nice.
Also, St. John Paul the Great. That might be cool. He was a cool dude, and he seems like he would have a lot of stories to tell, too. That's basically a theme of my list. Who has good stories to tell over a beer?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my list came from. And I'll do maybe one more. Thomas Jefferson, I think, would be cool to talk to over a beer, just to see, what the thought process was.
It's fascinating because they portrayed him in John Adams documentary, movie, Paul Giamatti's first foray into leading man territory. And Thomas Jefferson was kind of a dick to him. So anyway,
Okay.
that's what.
All right.
All right, so my number 5, I think that there's a common story amongst really funny people, actors, comedians, musicians, maybe really talented people, that sometimes they get taken from us too early. They meet their demise because of drugs or fame or stardom, and that happened to this guy who's number 5 on my list. He was my favorite comedian. I can't listen to his CDs of his stand-up or his DVDs, watch his DVDs of his stand-up without my ribs hurt when I watch him. He's so funny, my cheeks hurt, and I really feel like his kind of comedy is my kind of comedy, and that we would have a very good time over a beer together. And that would be Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, man.
I love Mitch Hedberg. His comedy is gold. I don't know if you've ever heard of him or seen him, but he's a funny dude, and he was taken from us for overdosing on drugs.
Oh,
so
man.
that might not be the best idea to have a beer with him, but
Right. That night might get kind of crazy.
Yes.
It's a very strong theme in my top 5.
one might lead to another.
Right.
Who knows?
See, but like he could get away with it because he's dead.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I might have to go to work the next day.
Right.
So this would have to be on a Friday, hanging out with Mitch Hedberg.
Kicking it with Mitch Hedberg
Yeah.
over a beer.
Maybe at the Doubletree. If you've ever listened to his comedy, you might get that joke. Okay, that's my number 5. Lilo.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, I actually had to. So admission of guilt here. I had to go onto Google and actually type in interesting dead people, because for whatever reason I could not think of anyone who I would want to sit with, who was dead, or anyone who would like Craig. I didn't know who would think I was interesting enough to have a beer
We've
with.
been conditioned that, you're dead, so, we're probably not going to deal with them. So it's kind of hard to think about it like, oh, man, I wish I could have had a beer with him while he's still alive kind of thing.
Right.
It's hard. You don't really think like that.
Yeah, when I put this on the list
Yeah.
of a topic for us to vote on to see if we would do this show, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to vote on it like that. Just because I thought, yeah, that would be easy
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
would be cool. But it was way harder than I
This
first
is-
thought.
it's
it
Yes,
was.
way
it was.
harder.
Big time.
This is a huge challenge. All right, so in that list, though, I was able to gather up a handful of ideas. So I'm going to throw out some honorable mentions here. I'm going to do the cliched Albert Einstein. I think that conversation would go very wheels off very quickly. I would start drinking beers, and he would start talking relativity, and I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about anymore.
Or he
Want a
could
beer?
go the other way. You could understand him.
That's true. He
There
could
you go.
start. I mean, the more beers we got, the more the more laid back he could be, and
He
dumb
could say
down his
anything and
theories.
you'd believe it.
God, really? That's amazing. And then Robin Williams, he's on there too. I would love to
Man.
sit down with that guy and just to pick his brain, just to see how he thought and like how he
The problem with sitting down with him is he didn't sit down.
exactly is that we would probably be up and running around with
Yeah,
beers.
yeah.
And then the last 2 honorable mentions would be Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley. They were both very influential in their genres. Johnny Cash was very big in rock and country music, and so was Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley, actually, I would want to talk to him more simply because he actually was a huge influence on my dad. And my dad tailored his singing voice to be very much like Elvis, but he's not an Elvis impersonator. He just
That would
he
be
just
awesome.
sings like Elvis. It would be pretty awesome. But yeah, he's the hit at our church. Especially when he canters, it's basically game over for that.
Nice.
Yeah. So okay, so on to my actual number 5. Number 5 is Bruce Lee. And so this is the I've looked at my list a couple times and I've figured out what the theme of my list was, and it's innovators. And so Bruce Lee was an innovator in terms of martial arts. He started with his the martial arts that he learned early on, and then he went off and made his own, and started his own form of martial arts, and basically pioneered the entire Americanized genre of martial arts movies and kung fu movies. And dude never lifted a weight in his life, but he was ripped, and he had like the muscles, his like shoulder blade muscles were ridiculous. Like they went from the top of his shoulder basically down to his hips. It was amazing.
Did he fight Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in one of the movies?
He did fight Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
Beat him
and
too.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was one of his students in real life.
That's awesome.
IRL.
But dude, Kareem
So
Abdul-Jabbar
yeah,
is an interesting guy. He would be on my list if you were dead.
What the?
Sorry. What?
You could have been somebody.
he could have been a contender.
Yeah.
So yeah, number 5 for Lilo is Bruce Lee.
All right, number 5 for me. And I feel like this guy would be having a field day with the current crop of political candidates that are running for presidential election next year. Please vote. And he was a political guy. And when I went to his Wikipedia page, he wasn't just a comedian. He was a political humorist, apparently is what they called him. And that is George Carlin. And he said some funny things. And I feel like having a beer with him will just, it's just like me. You say one, buzzword and it'll set him off and, say whatever he wants to say, although he'll do it in a far more intelligent way than I would. So, yes, George Carlin, he's really funny, man. He won Grammys for comedy, which I didn't even know they had. And,
Yeah, it's not one of the actual on air.
It's not the ones they show
awards.
on TV.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like best radio station is never on air.
but they did you know like comedians used to open for big acts? So comedians used to open for big acts like the Beatles, whatever, Rolling Stones, and like.
Wow.
So George Carlin opened up for some big acts, and there you go. So George Carlin, man, the stories he would have from comedians hanging out with rock and roll guys to his political things and how the world works. I feel like having a beer with him would be interesting 10 minutes.
That would actually be really cool.
So there you go. Number 5, George Carlin.
Thank you. Speaking of comedians, so my number 4 is also a comedian, but he is for Mexico, of course. This comedian understood who his audience was and became a part of the culture. He was that much of an influence that up to today, he recently passed away this year. I think it was this year.
Yeah, 2015.
Yes.
George Lopez.
No.
George Lopez is still with us.
He's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, George.
Would he be on your list too if he died?
No.
And,
No.
and this guy was a genius. He not only wrote, he developed characters that are still iconic to the Mexican culture, but he also wrote plays, wrote songs, wrote movies. And I'd like to sit down and also pick his brain and kind of, see how he viewed the audience and what his focus or how, where he got his creativity from. So I'm talking about his nickname is Chespirito, but his name is Roberto Gomez Bolaños, and they call him Chespirito because it was like a mix of someone called him Shakespeare but didn't know how to pronounce it right. So Chespirito, Roberto Gomez Bolaños.
Awesome.
Yes,
He's a cool dude.
he is.
Or was, I guess.
I don't
Was.
know him.
Yeah.
My number 4 is transitioning my list from a funny guy to more serious people that could teach me things. And this guy, I think, would have a good balance of both. This guy was an actor and then later became a politician. He became a president of the United States. And so I feel like he would have a lot of perspectives on a lot of different things. And he would be able to teach me some things. We both really like jelly beans. And so I feel like we could have beer and jelly beans and that would be awesome. I'm not sure about the combination, but
Yeah,
I would like to try it sometime.
Maybe not at the same time.
Maybe not at the same time, but maybe we could hang out over some jelly beans or beer.
Sweet.
So this person would be the President Ronald Reagan.
Nice.
I think I would enjoy hanging out with him. He seems like the kind of guy that you could pull up next to on a bar stool, and he would be able to chat with pretty much anybody, and somebody like myself would be able to speak to him without having much reservation for who he was. So that would be my number 4, and that would be President Ronald Reagan.
Nice. Wasn't he the great communicator?
I believe he was.
I think
yes.
he was. Yeah. All right. That's a good one. Okay, so continuing on with my list of dead people. My number 4 is he's definitely a pioneer in terms of what he has done for the entertainment industry. Most notably for the kids' entertainment industry. He was a incredibly creative and incredibly imaginative person who came up with some really wild ideas and went ahead and made them happen. And that person is Walt Disney. Got some.
We were guessing at who it was going to be.
Yeah.
Oh.
It wasn't him.
That would have been a good one though.
Yeah, Blinky.
Blinky the Clown,
man.
the Clown. He was
Yeah.
a local Colorado celeb.
Local Colorado celebrity.
Happy birthday to you.
My brother was on Blinky.
Was he really?
For his birthday, yeah.
Oh.
And I was jealous because I never got to go on there.
The local morning
I
show.
loved Blinky.
But
That
my
guy
brother,
was
he
awesome.
was sitting on the chair
Best.
while they were singing happy birthday.
So awesome.
Dang.
He is the
Yeah.
only clown that I have respect for. Every other clown on this planet is ridiculous and
Blinky was
creepy.
the man.
Blinky was the man. So yes, without Walt Disney, we definitely would not have the vast Disney empire that we have. All of your kids out there would not be continuously singing "Let It Go." I know I'll be caught with that just in the car. I'll be sitting there thinking about something. All of a sudden, it'll pop into my head, and I'll start singing it. That is his influence. In fact, a lot of the positions at Walt Disney, like animators and engineers and stuff, are actually called Imagineers. So it takes the word imagination and makes that a part of their name.
Like sandwich artists.
Basically like sandwich artists.
It's about the same.
It's almost the same,
Right.
right?
Except for they
you know.
tell you exactly what to put on a
Well,
sandwich.
yeah.
Instead of creating culinary delights and dragging it across
With
that
no
white
free will.
thing.
You have
Uh,
no free will as a sandwich artist.
Right.
You
They,
can't paint your own picture on somebody's sandwich.
No,
Right.
not at all.
I've never had a quote-unquote sandwich artist suggest anything to
No,
me.
no, and that commercial they
never
have
do.
now, where he's
Yeah.
guy's like, "I'll make your sandwich great." No, you
No,
won't.
no, you won't.
Well, they're just
You're going to
trying to-
stand there and listen to what I tell you to do.
I can see the options. I know what you're suggesting. It's not
Subway,
like,
Subway has to change their image. You know, they got to scrub people away, and you can't get a calorie guide because they haven't printed new ones yet because
Right.
you know who is on the
'Cause,
yeah pictures on there.
Mr.
sorry.
So-and-so is.
I threw that off. Please.
Yeah, no, that's totally cool. But yeah, so he was a huge innovator in terms of the entertainment industry. So there you go, Walt Disney.
All right, my number 4 is the first man to walk on the moon.
Okay.
Yes. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, whatever that is. And that's Neil Armstrong, man. And he recently died, I believe, in 2012. And just the stories, I mean, he went to space several times. And, you know, Neil Armstrong, man, he's the first man to walk on the moon. He could have a different perspective than anybody almost in the entire world. Right? He's been up there. He's seen it. He's made the journey across the stars, which now we learn that there's water. Within the last week, there's water on Mars, and there's red water on Mercury. Not Mercury, Pluto. There's red water on Pluto.
Huh,
and
that's a new one.
so within our lifetime, we will get to Mars. Maybe not Pluto, but you know, the now it's like our globe is getting smaller, and now it's like the galaxy is getting. Although it's not, maybe just our personal galaxy here. It's going to be small. So Neil Armstrong, he was one of the pioneers of space travel, and I mean, just the story he would have in NASA and stuff he'd have to go through. And I just like to understand maybe a little perspective on his life. So there you go, Neil Armstrong.
That would be a cool one. He would be. It would actually be really cool to sit with him and like tell him about all the new things that we've discovered, like water on Mars and water on Pluto. And
yeah, man. It's interesting. And CU Boulder had a lot of to do with it. I'm sorry, guys, but Colorado locally they do a lot of stuff on NASA. Anyway, whatever. So, but the CSU Ram fans in here, so whatever. They didn't have number 2 in Al Qaeda. Okay, now I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm sorry.
We had Orville Redenbacher. Get out of here.
right.
And Fum McGraw.
Fum McGraw.
He's the man.
All right.
All right, so I would rather die on my feet than live on my knees. And this has a lot to do, and this has to do with the man who said this. The reason why is why I would like to sit with Emiliano Zapata was not only because he was alive and led, a whole country to change and the history of an entire nation, and not only an entire nation, but many other generations, even the people that are now, first, second, as many generations after that in the United States. So what his
What
mentality.
you're trying to trade is you're trying to take it back?
No, I'm just saying the mentality of what led him to say, what, I can make this change in this country. I can
assimilate.
No, yeah, I can make a change in this country. I can make a change in maybe my life or my family's life.
He was a revolutionary.
He was a revolutionary, yes, and he was from the state I was born in. So
awesome.
Nice. And that quote is so powerful,
super famous,
so powerful.
Yeah.
Emiliano Zapata. Your number, what is that? 3?
That was number 3. Yes.
All right. My number 3 also had a big impact in where we're at this moment in land and time. He is quite misunderstood these days, and I would like to have a beer with him to just see where things are at. See what kind of dude he was.
If it's Jesus, then it would be wine.
Well, that's
right. That's it.
That brings me to. I had the first guy on my list was Jesus. Right. I put that down, and I couldn't put it on my list. I'm like I don't know. I couldn't. I wouldn't have anything to say.
It's so true.
I would feel bad drinking.
Yeah.
Right. Like, am I allowed to do this with you right now?
I would wait to see if he drank first, maybe.
Right.
How much is acceptable? I don't
know.
I have some wafers here.
Right? Could you?
You might want to try one. You may feel better.
Are those pretzels? I don't know.
Are those pretzels?
So I wouldn't know how to act. So that's why I didn't want to bridge that. So I didn't put him on my list, even though
Nice.
Yeah.
I you know what, Craig? I felt basically the exact same way. I was like, I should put Jesus on here. That would be a really terrible.
It would not be a good idea.
Yeah, it would. It would be very awkward.
I would
for me.
rather hang out with Jesus doing other things.
Exactly, like go karting.
Disc golf.
Something. Yeah.
In Family Guy, he played disc golf with Chris.
I can see Jesus wanting to play disc golf.
Something.
Right.
Ralph.
Not having a beer.
Right.
It just seems weird.
It just doesn't seem right.
Doesn't seem right. So back to my misunderstood person,
Oh man.
who was also. I'll just say it. I really would like to have a beer with Christopher Columbus.
What? Okay.
I think he's a cool dude. I love Christopher Columbus. We have his holiday. It's right. It happened by the time this is airing. It just happened. We'll have a day off of school and work, and I would like to talk to him and see where his head was at. See where.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty cool. I would like I've got to give that dude credit. I mean, no normal person would spend that much time on a boat and in the hopes of finding a completely new country, right? No one does that these days. There's no like exploration around here anymore.
I would want to ask him about an Amerigo Vespucci because Christopher Columbus allegedly found
How would you feel about the country being
found the Americas.
Right.
Yeah.
Why are we not called Columbus Land or
Columbia?
Columbia?
We should be Columbia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not
Makes
America.
sense.
Whatever. I just want to hear his take on that.
Yeah,
That's what-
he
Right.
probably is really mad to this day about that.
Yeah, he's probably rolling in his grave right now.
He's like, I get a city in Ohio, and
Yeah.
this Amerigo
Right.
dude gets the whole country.
He gets the whole country.
continent.
Yeah, the continent.
Jeez.
Two continents.
Yeah.
Man.
Anyway, Christopher Columbus. that's my guy.
Awesome.
All right.
There you go.
That's my 3.
2 continents. All right.
I like starting controversies from guys who never met each other. That'd be funny.
Awesome. Right.
Yo, I heard Amerigo was throwing you under the bus, Christopher.
Right. What's up now?
Yeah. I'm having beer with him next week.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you got to say?
Also, I'll let you know.
Oh man, I should. Oh, another honorable mention that I'm just now thinking of now that you mentioned Christopher Columbus and explorers is Lapu Lapu. He is the national hero of the Philippines, and he is most known for killing Magellan.
Oh.
Yeah, so Magellan came over to the Philippines and was like, I claim you in the name of Spain. And the Filipinos were like, okay, that's all right, I guess. No, wait, no, this is dumb. What are you doing? And then Lapu Lapu comes in and he kills Magellan. But then Magellan and the rest of his crew come over and they start sending other Spanish people, and they didn't leave for 300 and something plus years. So,
Dang.
yeah, Lapu Lapu, I just wanted to, hey, man, so you killed their leader, but they came back in forces. What do you think about that?
Yeah. What do you think about that decision in revisionist history terms?
Right. Would you go back and say maybe not again?
Yeah. Maybe we could deal diplomatically about this. You could have some outlying islands.
Right. You could have half of these 7,000
Yeah.
islands, and we could have the big ones.
Yeah.
Just like the guys who assassinated Archduke Ferdinand. It was a rough one.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't even on the parade route. Archduke Ferdinand and his wife were stopping off to get a sandwich.
Right. And,
And
they
they happened to
offed
see
him
him.
by accident.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
And
look,
then
there
it
he
was
is.
just-
Right. Oh, my gosh. What a
was-
coincidence.
That was a
World
big
War.
deal. Yeah.
Boom,
Right.
World War.
Two really.
Yeah.
Two. But yeah, anyway.
Okay, so my actual number 3.
History lesson.
I guess he was an innovator. I mean, he definitely got his hands dirty in his job, that's for sure. Steve Irwin. Steve Irwin.
I thought you were going to say Mike Rowe, and he's still alive.
Yeah, Mike Rowe's still alive. Although I would love to talk to Mike Rowe because that guy's got a voice of gold.
His daughter was in some magazine taking pictures.
Mike
Not-
Rowe's daughter?
No.
Oh,
No.
Steve Irwin?
Steve Irwin's
Bindi
daughter.
Irwin?
Yeah, she's on Dancing with the Stars.
That's what
She
it
is.
is.
She's on Dancing
she
with
was
the
Yeah,
Stars.
she was wearing some clothes that are,
Yeah.
She's hilarious.
they're blue.
She,
Crikey.
blimey.
It's funny that he died by the hands of a stingray rather than a crocodile. You think that
Yeah.
you want to go out,
But I mean, at least he died doing what he loved.
at least an alligator.
Right.
I don't know if I'd say
Ironic.
that's
I'm
funny.
sorry. I'm
I don't
sorry.
know.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Man, we're stepping on toes here.
Yeah.
But no, I just think he was a cool guy. Like there was a joie de vivre to him where he would come in and
Yes.
and like you never saw him angry. Of course, that was also his TV personality, but I mean, there was never a hint of sadness or despair in his life, and he loved doing what he did. And even though it was bloody crazy, the homeboy would go and just like grab crocodiles in the face and mess with stingrays, and I mean, he lived his life to the fullest, and it was amazing. So. Yeah, Steve Irwin, and I would love to sit and have beers and get him drunk enough to the point where he would just start talking in his catchphrases.
I feel like that would happen.
I think it would too.
Yeah.
I think it would too.
Yeah.
I mean, he does come from Australia, and that whole country wants to that entire landmass is designed to kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's why they send the convicts there. or
that's
used to
right.
Anyway.
That's right.
That's how this country
Flying
started.
foxes.
The Aborigines, they're getting rights now. So my number 3, and but my last 3 are going to have a lot in common.
Last 3.
Oh,
you're number 3.
My number 3. I'm on,
I forgot who we started
Okay,
with.
so
All right.
anyway,
Right.
all right. So the first time I got to see this guy was because he actually did something that a family could watch or a little kid like me could watch, and that would be Uncle Buck, and it is John Candy, and he died. I believe he died shortly after this movie. But John Candy, and then, remembering that, wanting to go back and look at what his other Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And he did not Second City. What's the one in Canada? I forget. But John Candy, man, he's funny. He is really funny, and he's a great improv actor. And I just want to know because the guys he hung out with, really, like he could have a story about any of those guys.
Oh,
and
totally
that would be amazing. And John Candy looks like a heck of a guy. So there you go, man. John Candy,
John Candy.
rest in peace. And I got him confused all the time with John Goodman. And I love John Goodman. John Goodman's the best. John Goodman, he might be the best actor that doesn't get leading roles. Have you guys seen the movie Flight?
Yes.
Where he's the drug dealer and he yells at hands off the merch. Hands off the merchandise. Anyway, I love John Goodman and John Candy. I used to get him confused, but he's the only actor that's still working from Roseanne, the TV show. Well, what's the guy on the guy that was
The guy with the hair?
no, yeah, the hair. The guy Becky's boyfriend, that guy. He's on like
Uncle Jesse.
no.
That's Full House. Uncle Jesse.
No,
She said Becky. I remember.
John
what's her name?
Stamos is back.
Are
in
you talking about
nighttime
the? Are you
primetime
talking about?
TV?
Wait.
You're
You're talking about
the
Big Bang
science.
Theory.
Big Bang Theory. That
Yeah,
guy
you're
is
talking
still
about that
working.
guy. Yes.
Yes.
I know.
And
I can't think of his name, though.
the aunt and Roseanne, Jackie, she had a show, but John
The
Goodman,
daughter, she's on The View, isn't she?
she is on The View.
Is she?
No, it's
Yeah.
not The View. It's some other.
It's the same show, but
it's a
on different
knockoff
channel,
CBS The View.
Yeah.
And
The Watch. No,
Yeah.
I don't know the name, and if I did, I wouldn't say it. So there you
So
go.
he knows it.
No, I don't know. I think it's the list or the cup, tin cup. Rene Russo.
All right.
All right, let's go.
Whoa,
More
Divergence.
Rebels.
Yeah.
Your number 2.
Let's get this back now.
My number 2, and this is gonna be a different tone from what you were talking about, Don. I would like to sit down and have a beer with one of the greatest thinkers of our time. Personally speaking, I can ask him about what is the meaning of life is to him. What all these weird sounding questions. I'm talking about C.S. Lewis. Just how inspirational he was, the theories of almost everything. In his point of view, obviously, it's very faith-related. So, C.S. Lewis is someone who I would like to sit down and have a beer with and just talk.
That would turn into a very deep beer conversation.
Yes, it would.
That's like
Would-
you just blow right past the "I love you" mans, and you're just like, man, what is the meaning of life?
Yeah, you'd just be. You'd have to have some major beerage.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're talking
yes.
like really heavy beer to like 10 beer.
No, I started getting annoying by then. So I have witnesses.
Yeah.
So-
Is that the stuff that
No
goes
idea
under
what you're
drunk
talking about.
Kev Berto?
I
yeah.
have no idea what you're talking about. At Rank 'em Up on Twitter. At Rank 'em Up. Check that out. It's a fun time.
My number 2 is of the same vein. These number 2 and number 1. I don't feel like I would be doing a whole lot of talking.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a whole lot to say. I'd be like, hey, my name's Craig.
Talk to me.
Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say. I wouldn't have many questions. I just would. I feel like I could just sit there and listen. The story, especially for number 2 of his life story, I could sit there and just listen to him talk about his days in the army, fighting against the French, how he was a ladies' man, kicked some butt, took names as a officer in the army, how he converted to the faith, how he became faithful, founded a order of priests, became a counter-reformationist to the highest degree, was faithful. I mean, this dude would have so much to talk about. We'd have to sit down for like 10 different beering outings
Right.
just to be able to crack just the top of it. And that would be St. Ignatius Loyola.
Yep.
I am very much in awe of this dude in his life. He had such a huge conversion and became so spiritually and faithfully active in his later years after his conversion. The guy would have so much to say, and I would just be soaking it all in. So I would take a recorder with me,
Yes, you would have to.
and I would play those back over and over and over. I would probably could sell them for quite a bit, those recordings.
I'm sure you could.
Yep.
But I wouldn't do that. No. I would just listen.
Right.
And
Yeah, being holed up in a hospital bed after having your legs shattered by cannonballs will
Yeah, getting hit by a cannonball and living to tell about it would be something cool to talk about.
Exactly. That would be like an entire beer night right there.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I got shot by a cannonball. All right. Let's do shots.
Right, let's do that. Shots on me. Let's do this.
Oh, look my legs.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh.
He would be whole in this scenario, Keberto.
Okay.
Which is
Is that your
magically
Halloween
appear
costume, Keberto?
in the bar.
St. Ignatius Loyola. That's my number 2.
Keberto's going to be a pirate again.
Good one. Okay, that is a really good one. I can get behind that. Okay, number 2 for me. Again, massive innovator. Not widely recognized. Well, at least not until like recent times when he's kind of become more mainstream now than he ever was. But it's Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
The reason why we're being able to bring this to you right now.
Exactly. And that's exactly why I would want to talk to him. Like, all right, look, you have an incredible mind. How do you get this stuff out of there and into real life? And like, what is your purpose? Like, how do you manage that? How do you get that drive to create alternating current electricity? I mean, he probably would have made it big had Edison not decided. Well, okay, this is going to be kind of mildly conspiracy theory. Had Edison decided, we can make money off of this. We can make a lot of money off of this.
You've watched The Illusionist too much.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Prestige.
Or Prestige, yes.
Right.
I knew it.
What are you talking about? Thomas Edison was. Anyway, I'm going Don on everybody here.
You're now a term. You're now in action.
If being entertaining is a term, then I would like to have that adjective. Thank you.
So yes, Nikola Tesla, his level of innovation, his level of creativity, I would love to just sit down and even take away a small fraction of that to apply in my actual real life.
All right.
And one of his cars would be cool if he'd give you one of
Yeah.
those. Too.
Did you
Right.
see the new SUV?
Oh, so cool.
With the going doors.
Is a first production vehicle with going doors
Yeah.
since
the DeLorean.
the DeLorean in 1985. Yes.
Ah,
Too bad it's
so
not
much.
aluminum, though.
Right. Or what would you what would he think if you're like, dude, we made a car named after you. It runs on electricity. He'd be like, what would he say? Would he?
He'd be
Doesn't
like, where's
matter.
my cheese?
No, there's
Right.
no trademark rights.
Yep.
There's no trademark rights then, was there?
That's why
It's all
Edison
open
got
source
the-
now.
I had a friend named Tesla.
Right.
I named it after my sister, my brother. All right. My number 2 is a guy, and he is number 1 on Comedy Central list of stand-ups, and he's been dead for, I think, 6 years, and he's the man. You may remember him from things such as Brewster's Millions or a million stand-up specials. And by the way, this is why the HBO Now app is really good, is because it has all these stand-up specials you can go back and watch. And like you can watch George Carlin from the 70s. You can watch other people. If you want to watch Gallagher, you can watch Gallagher. Which I can't believe I liked that when I was a kid, but whatever. Anyway,
I really feel like spilling your drink right now, just
Dude.
because it's watermelon.
there's nothing. Oh, that's true. Good call. I would like to go to a place where I'd have to wear a tarp. He's like a prop actor. He's like a better Carrot Top. Thank you. Don't beat me up, Carrot Top.
New Carrot Top is scary. I'm going to go on
Dude,
record
he's
saying
scary.
New Carrot Top is scary.
Yeah.
Man.
I don't know what kind of carrot juice he's drinking, but
It's scary is
Yeah.
what it is. Like, and then watching him pull out his trunk of tricks, like, you don't know what's going to come out of there now.
no.
Like, it used to be funny, but now it could be like chainsaws. Because he looks like a murderer.
How long? Do you think it's been long enough since Gallagher hasn't been mainstream that we can have somebody else, another comic, like smashing stuff on the stage?
I think we're past that point.
Yeah, I think we're
Yeah.
past that point. Like, the whole slapstick comedy
Yeah.
bit.
It's before YouTube.
But we need to figure out
Yeah.
what country that would
That's
be good
exactly
in.
what it is.
We need to figure out what country that would be good in.
Kazakhstan.
Speaking
No,
of YouTube,
that's Borat. We have a YouTube channel, and that's brand new. Go to Rank 'em Up, and I don't know if we're going to put anybody's links on here, but for this particular show, but you can listen to last week's show.
we'll have every show on there, but
playlist.
yeah, the playlist
Kinda
will be on
hard.
there.
Although I would like, anyway. So HBO Now, they have all these comedy specials. If you're a fan of stand-up comedy, you can go there, and that would be, of course, Richard Pryor, who was working until right at the very end. Man, they would wheel him out there and set up the microphone, and he couldn't even use his hands. He had multiple sclerosis. So he worked till the very end, which is sad and actually a good thing in a way because his comedy never got old. He would always have fresh takes, which is amazing because it's really hard to write comedy that people like, and especially with things that he was talking about. He's kind of a George Carlin style, but not like getting politically crazy all the way. It might not be politically correct to laugh at the black people jokes that he says sometimes, especially now. There's no way he could say it now. It would be over. The Twitterverse would kill him. It would. No, I didn't mean to say it. The Twitterverse would just say, "Look, he's not even." Never mind. I'm not going to do that. So Richard Pryor, I would love to have a conversation with him and just tell him what social media and how we are interconnected, and not necessarily what they did to Kramer, but more what they did to, I don't know, Jerry Seinfeld when he said kids these days are too sensitive. Twitter, oh man, they just went after him, and I'm like, you can't go after Jerry Seinfeld. He's the cleanest actor in town, and he's good.
That's pretty accurate.
And by the way, kids are too sensitive. Thank you.
All right.
I'll agree with that rant.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
So this is number ones, right?
This is number one. While making this list,
Number one, Cabrito. Go ahead.
I was thinking, who would I want to sit down and learn off of, and then that way I can, maybe teach my children or my grandchildren, and and I could say, I learned courage from Emiliano Zapata. I learned, the art of music from Beethoven, or that there is it's okay to have a good sense of humor from Chespirito, or consciousness from C.S. Lewis. But I think that I would, and I do value most. This guy isn't famous. The dude had nine children. He was a farmer. He is the reason why I am here today, and I'm talking about my grandfather, Felipe Villa, or Philip Villa, and he was born in 1910, died in 1994.
Wow.
This guy had a lot. He moved from the farm to the city, and to think and hear my dad talk about. He's the youngest of all nine. Hearing about the transition period from farm life to city life was incredible, and
Right.
the discipline and everything they all went through, the hardships and how they went through it, and just how they dealt with life is just amazing, and just to hear about it. And I would love to sit down and talk to him. He died when I was 8. I was 8, so I didn't really get to spend much time with him, but yeah. So
You couldn't have drank a beer with him back then.
not then.
Yeah,
but
probably not.
No, but I would love to. Maybe it would be pulque with him. It's a farmer's form of tequila. Poor man's, Yeah.
Nice.
So there you go.
All right, my number one.
That was deep, Kev.
That
Sorry,
was
yeah.
good.
That was
good.
that was a good one.
I don't even want to say mine now.
I know my list feels like crap now.
Jeez.
My list. We've
It's gonna be a tear in my beer.
Yeah.
Oh.
My list, we've been entertained by Mitch Hedberg. I've really hung out at a bar stool with Ronald Reagan. I found out some answers that I've been wanting to know about Christopher Columbus. I heard the best of the best stories from St. Ignatius Loyola. And this last one, they always say you never want to be the smartest one in the room. You want to have somebody that you can learn something from. And why not have the smartest dude pretty much ever there was, or to me at least. And that would be St. Thomas Aquinas. That dude was brilliant, a genius, an amazing writer. And like with Ignatius Loyola, I feel like I wouldn't be able to say a whole lot. I would just be babbling my words while I'm getting a professor's lesson while I'm sitting there on the farthest reaches of life and everything. And so I feel like I could, even if I just picked up on 1 or 2, 3 catchphrases that he just said, I would be better off for it. If all I remembered at the end of the night was like 1 or 2 things. Like, I'll give you an example. I had a substitute teacher one time in my university class, and he got up there and he said, today we're not going to learn about anything that's on the syllabus. We're not going to learn about anything that's in the book because you're not going to remember anyway. Because I'm a substitute. I don't know what your lesson plan is supposed to be. Here's what I'm going to teach you today. Something that you will remember for the rest of your life. And so far it has. I've remembered this to this day. Something useful. He said, I'm going to teach you how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And we're like, what the hell? We paid for this class.
Right.
Why are we coming here to have this substitute teacher teach us how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Did he how do you say crunchy or smooth peanut butter?
He did not give a preference.
All right.
However,
You get your crunchy peanut butter out of my face. So it's not allowed in my household.
Jeez.
Thank you.
yeah, you like gooey, nasty peanut butter and Reese's.
Peanut butter and Reese's.
So I'll give you the long and short of it. The way he said to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich was, if you get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you carry it in your lunchbox and you have it for lunch, and the dough or the bread is gooey from the jelly, right? He says that nobody likes soggy bread. You can get different bread, but it still happens. What you do is you put peanut butter on both sides of the bread and the jelly in between them. It's like a barrier for the bread. Like, why didn't I think about that?
So brilliant.
So simple.
So brilliant.
And to this day, I remember. I have no idea what his name was. I couldn't pick him out of a crowd, but I learned something from him that day. And I feel like if I sat down and had a beer, or 3 or 4 with St. Thomas Aquinas, there would be something brilliant like that peanut butter and jelly sandwich story that I could take with me for the rest of my life.
That is really good.
That is greatness.
I might cry a little.
Right.
That is my number one.
Serious.
So you didn't cry at your grandpa's.
Hey, I was trying to keep it professional, okay? Come on.
Okay, all right, cool, man.
The peanut butter and jelly revelation is so
Seriously.
mind-blowing.
So now everybody that's listening knows how to make a peanut butter and jelly that does not get soggy.
My
Man, that
horizon
guy-
has expanded.
That guy's legacy is just
It
completely
is
exploded.
tenfold. lived
Right.
on. Yes.
I'm serious. Sorry.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's my number one.
All right. Number 1, continuing the list of innovators. So we've already gone over Bruce Lee with martial arts, Walt Disney with entertainment, and just making a studio that it gives you like the worst earwigs possible. Earworms. Let it go. I'm looking at you. Idina Menzel. Steve Irwin, just for the way he lived his life, and then Nikola Tesla. My last one is a 20th century visionary. I'm going to go ahead and say it. He created something that is so prevalent that I'm looking at least 2, possibly 3 products that he has brought to the fore because of his forward thinking right now in the studio. And that person is Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was a brilliant human being in the fact that he was able to pinpoint the thing that people didn't know they wanted, like a smartphone. Why would anyone need a solid panel of glass encased in plastic or metal that you could check your emails on, you could do phone calls on, you could send text messages with, you could even play games on, because why not? But then even take that a step further and say, look, I'm going to make this into a tablet. I'm going to make every sci-fi thing a reality right now with this tablet. We're going to call it the iPad. And he was quoted using another quote from Henry Ford, and the quote is this. If I had asked people, or like someone had asked Henry Ford why he decided to make the car, and he said, well, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have told me they wanted a faster horse. And Steve Jobs was like, I don't want to make a faster horse. I want to make something new and different that people will actually find incredibly useful. And so I look up to Steve Jobs, and I try to emulate a lot of his things, like trying to take as many walks as I can to kind of stimulate creativity in the mind and get away from like the other stuff and the other noise of the workday. So yeah, I would love to just sit and chat and have a beer, and I think it would be a really fun conversation. Actually, I mean, he seems like he would be very, very conversational, at least from his public persona. I don't know what he was like in his private life, but I would imagine that sitting down, having a beer, he would take on that public persona. He would show up in his black shirt and jeans and the little white New Balances that he wore to every conference, and we would probably have a good time.
Do you think he'd be looking at his devices the whole time?
That's a great question, actually. I would hope not. Honest to God, I would hope not. Because then I'd be like, well, come on, man.
Yeah, get off your phone.
You came all the way back from the dead, and you're checking your mail?
Yeah. Yeah.
What mail are you getting? You're dead.
You gotta check his stock price, man.
Steve Wozniak just sent me something. Hold on. What's this new movie about?
Oh, Google stock price is rising.
Right. I gotta go. Oh, we haven't even finished our beer yet. So yeah, number one
Steve
for me
Jobs,
would be
number one.
Steve Jobs.
We didn't even mention the language barrier of some of these people.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very true.
Do you know Italian, Craig?
I could probably make my way through.
Right.
Did I have any? No, I had people I could talk to.
Yeah.
I guess if you included-
Christopher Columbus. If he knew Spanish, I could talk to him.
right.
He had to. He talked to the king.
He talked to King Ferdinand and
Yeah,
Queen Isabella.
I would think he would know Spanish.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Steve Irwin spoke Australian English. I
Yeah.
could probably muddle my way through that.
yeah, that'll work.
Put another shrimp on the bobby.
All right, well, that was all of our number ones, was it?
Nope.
Or you have one more?
I'm
all right.
last.
You're
So
last.
my favorite person, and this is a movie that was on replay, and it still has rewatchability in any part of the movie that it comes in, and it's another Saturday Night Live guy, and he's my favorite, man. He's my favorite, and I miss him a lot, and I love the movies he was in, even though it was basically the same movie, Black Sheep and Tommy Boy, and. Man, he was just the best. Lunch Lady, man. Like when Adam Sandler wrote the Lunch Lady song, it was Chris Farley that he wrote it in mind for. And Chris Farley, man, he died way too young. Although I think it was a product of him being Chris Farley all the time. People want him to be Chris Farley 24/7. And I recently saw a story. Dan Patrick asked David Spade, "What's your best Chris Farley story?" And he's like, "The first time I met him, he was just Chris Farley." Or no, let me start a different story. Jay Moore, the first time he met Chris Farley, he did the Matt Foley in motivational speaker act on him, and he's like, "Wow, it was brilliant." And he just made him feel welcome and stuff. And there's a million Chris Farley stories like that from when he was a kid, and he went over to his friend's house to pick him up, and the mom had never met Chris, and Chris is like, he's like, "Be careful," and Chris just said, "It's okay. It's in God's hands now," and he took him out of there. And you can imagine Chris doing stuff like that and just everything. And there was a recent documentary about him, which was very fascinating. And he only lived to be, I think, 33 or something like that. But
Yeah, he died really young.
yeah, he did really. And did you know he voiced 80 to 90% of Shrek, the first Shrek, and he just had like one day of recapture or whatever the last, what they needed to clean up at the end, and he would have been Shrek, but
Wow.
obviously he had the bigger picture in mind, Shrek 3, Shrek 4. So
I would like to hear that track.
Yeah, they released
no
some of
kidding.
it in that documentary.
Did they? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's really good. But just imagine Chris Farley's voice in the Shrek. So that's it. But just everything he did, and obviously a lot of my 4 out of 5 of my guys are comedians, and they're funny, and they are a big influence on who I am today. And yeah, man, I just love Chris Farley. I wish he was here. I wish I could have a beer with him. Even if I could just, he was probably sick of the motivational speaker people yelling at him anyway, because that's all you get when you're that kind of character.
I feel like it wouldn't just be one beer with Chris Farley. Like
Yeah.
you would wake up in a gutter somewhere.
It's so true.
Like-
And do some lines. Okay, no, right, sorry.
Oh, wow.
I can't believe
I
that
wasn't
came
going
out of,
there.
I
I
can't
was
believe
saying
that
it
came
would
out
be
of your mouth,
It would
Kiberta.
be
Dang.
it would be a good
Dang.
night.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's why we don't let Berto drink.
It's right.
Exactly.
You gotta help me out. You gotta help me out.
I've been clean for a while.
Tell her you love her. Tell her you love her.
Let's end this before we get in trouble. This is Rank 'em Up. Don, how can they send us their lists of dead people they want to hang out with?
The fastest way, if you can get in 140 characters on Twitter at Rank 'em Up, you can go to YouTube and check out our channel, Rank 'em Up, and it has, I believe, the whole archive of Rank 'em Up shows. And of course, Facebook. You can see all of our personal Facebook pages, and the only time I ever post is video games and at Rank 'em Up on the show page. So there you go. Facebook.com/Rank 'em Up.
And please, if you like this show, share it with a friend. Give us a comment and a rating on iTunes. Do all that good stuff that you do for all your favorite shows. Do it for us because we like it and it'll help us out a lot. Go to iTunes and hit subscribe, all that good stuff. We thank you for listening. For Don, for Keberto, for Lilo, I'm Craig, and this is Rank 'em Up.